All right. So we're back and we're going to talk about the movie Falling Down. So with me here, my usual partner in crime, I have Andrew, aka Psycho White Guy Magazines.
Yep.
And for the purpose of this video, I am the MF Briefcase Centrist, which will become apparent later on. So Falling Down. This is the movie that we're talking about today. This movie came out in 1993. Was released in theaters in February. So this movie did pretty well. The budget was 25 million, and it ended up making 96 million at the box office. So,
Good
they
return.
did pretty well for themselves. This
Mm-hmm.
movie was directed by Joel Schumacher, who's directed probably the worst of the worst Batman films, so Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Oh.
Um, but he is also known for The Lost Boys, which is a vampire movie, St. Elmo's Fire, The Client, which is a thriller, um, based off of what is The Client? Like one of those really famous authors, John Grisham. But
Oh, okay.
anyway, I do have some fun facts about him. Oh yeah, Joel Schumacher also wrote the screenplay for The Wiz.
Oh, okay.
So he also directed two episodes of House of Cards.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
So just to let you know, Joel Schumacher is no longer with us. He died in 2020 at the age of 80. So he's quite old. He died of cancer, but he had quite a notable career. I do have some pretty interesting facts about Joel. I know I'm kind of dwelling on him for a while, but this is just something I had to say, which I found out. So Joel Schumacher claims that he had sex with 10,000 to 20,000 men.
Holy fuck. Wow.
Yeah, and I tried to do the math on that, and he would have had to have sex with a man a day for like 31 years or something like that.
It's
Um,
possible, I suppose, then.
yeah, I don't know. That seems um, kind of crazy, kind of
Yeah.
like the Wilt Chamberlain claim that he made, which was very similar to that.
Was it?
Yeah, he said that he had slept with like 20,000 women or something.
Oh, wow. Wow, I thought that 5,000 that Gene Simmons used to say was a lot.
Yeah, that's even, 5,000 is, I guess yeah, it's like rock stars. They could probably swing that in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how much he claimed. So, oh, actually, you know what? I was very, very conservative. If he had sex with one man, okay, I forgot to mention that he was gay, but if he had sex with one man,
Well,
um,
that seems obvious unless, I mean, uh, the only other way would be if he's bisexual, I guess.
yeah, I think he's exclusively gay here. So he says that my math was off. If he had indeed slept with 20,000 women, it would take 54 years of sleeping with one man a day.
Oh, okay.
Um, so yeah, that's crazy. But that's a claim. That's what it says on his Wikipedia page, at least.
Okay.
All right. So co-starring in this movie, well, starring in this movie, we have Michael Douglas, who plays the main character or antagonist, protagonist. I don't know what you want to call him. But we also have Robert Duvall, who plays a cop, Barbara Hershey, who plays Michael Douglas's wife, Rachel Ticontin. She plays Robert Duvall's partner. She was also the love interest in um, Total Recall, the original.
Yeah, I noticed that. Because I thought this is the only other movie I've ever seen her in.
So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this movie. Did you like in the opening scene of the movie? Did that give you enough information to tell you that Michael Douglas's character was mentally off? Because I kind of spotted it right away.
No, I didn't spot that right away. I mean, to me, it seemed like he was maybe just really stressed out.
Yeah, it could have been stress too, but I don't know, stress to the level where you leave your car like and just go walking.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mean when that happened, because I interpreted that as some sort of a mental breakdown.
okay, because he was kind of staring at kids on a bus, like trying to kill a fly in his car with extreme vigor, which you
I've
wouldn't
done that.
find
I've
like
done that
that,
before.
like that, like. I guess yeah, a fly could probably bother me that much, but yeah, he seemed like really irritated, really irritable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he bounces. He's like stuck in an LA traffic jam and he's going nowhere. So he just goes for a walk. Um,
Long ass walk
so I guess
too.
yeah. So we also get introduced to the other character, the cop. He's stuck in the same traffic jam, which is funny.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And Michael Douglas's car is just there, and this cop is like writing a ticket or something, and yeah, people are agitated. And he helps the cop move the car. It's like, "Oh yeah, it's retirement, my retirement." And the cop is kind of an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But they get that car out of the way and they kind of establish his character. I think it's Pendergrast or Pender something.
Yeah,
They
I think
haven't
it's
said his name yet in
Pendergrast.
the film
Yeah.
yet. So Michael Douglas, we see him creepily call some woman. I guess we have to assume at this point is like his ex-wife
Yeah.
or somebody might be stalking. You know,
Mm-hmm.
typical stalking behavior would be to call somebody and not say anything.
Yeah.
He basically does this. So he doesn't reveal himself. And he goes to a Korean like convenience store. And what would
He's
you
super
describe his
racist.
behavior? Yeah, it's like, man, basically he is the most racist in this particular scene.
Yeah, in this scene.
Um, and it's classic, like classic Karen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, classic Karen is displayed racial bigotry. In this case, it's like mocking the way that he speaks English.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's the biggest thing, you know, go back to your own country kind of sentiment here.
Yeah.
Um, and also, he's like complete entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
And his entitlement complex in this particular scene are the prices of the goods he wants to purchase. And what is his reaction to not liking the prices here?
He basically yells a whole bunch of racist shit at him and then trashes his store, and then he takes the pop that he was fighting him over, or sorry, that's the Canadian word for it, soda if you're American, and then still pays for it.
Yeah, but he pays for it at the price that he thought was fair.
Yeah.
And
And
this scene,
it was so inadvertently funny when he was freaking out, like, "You're gonna come to my country, you gotta pronounce the words properly, it's 55 cents, not extra pence." And I was like,
yeah,
holy shit, man.
yeah, pretty
Wow.
racist stuff.
Yeah.
At least xenophobic.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pays for it, and um, one of the things this scene kind of reminded me of, because I remember that price that he gave. Um, I think it was like $1.27 for a 12-ounce can of soda. That's pretty damn. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, especially for 1993.
Yeah. So I was thinking, man, this is probably pretty true. And one of the things that I thought about was one of Thomas Sowell's books, and he's talking about how a lot of these like convenience stores in the hood like tend to charge more for things because the price of doing business in those areas costs more
Yeah, that makes sense.
due to various factors. But yeah, I thought that was interesting because I got to assume that this guy doesn't know anything about hood prices.
Yeah.
Like he's just walking through there expecting to pay like like white suburb prices for stuff.
Right.
But that's not the case here because he's not in a white suburb.
Right.
He's definitely in the hood. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, we gonna get another scene when we get back to Robert Duvall's character, and they're playing pranks on him. They put a bunch of cat litter in his drawer. I guess
Yeah,
that's kind of
that's a fucking mean prank, man. Like holy
yeah.
literally holy shit.
Yeah, they kind of trying to establish that his coworkers are assholes and that
Yeah.
he doesn't really like them that much.
Yeah.
So we go back, and I'm just going to call Defense the name of Michael Douglas's character, because that's kind of what he gets referred to throughout the
Yeah,
movie.
that's what his license plate says too, right?
Yeah. So he's trying to call his wife again, and he gets a busy signal. He's like being a creeper again. We go back to okay, I got his name. It's Pendergast.
Oh, it's
And
Pendergast. Okay, I added an extra R.
yeah, so what do you think of Pendergast's wife?
She seems really fucking paranoid and worried about everything and freaking out easily.
Yeah, I wrote down Pendergast's wife has mental issues. She's a goddamn train wreck.
Yeah.
It kind of gets justified later on because right now they do develop these characters a little bit so that we kind of see the who's and whys of why they behave the way they do.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, she calls because she's going to be late or something like that. And when he hangs up, he kind of does like that eyebrow raise because it looks like his partner was there and he can kind of hear what was going on.
Right.
So he raises his eyebrows as if like what a psycho or something like that.
Yeah.
Look at this shit that I got to deal with.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things, because there was another scene that being the early 90s, did you notice how smoggy LA was?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking bad. Like it's not like that anymore. But yeah, back in the 90s and when I visited up there occasionally, that's what it looked like. That's like no fucking joke.
Oh, okay.
It was really that smoggy. So we have the iconic scene, one of my favorite scenes here. He's kind of resting on the top of a hill on this I don't know what it is. It's just like some cement, broken cement kind of thing with a bunch of graffiti on it. And he gets approached by two cholos. And for those who don't know, what is a cholo, Andrew?
I don't actually know exactly. Is it like some Mexican gangster or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much a Mexican gangbanger. That's what a cholo is.
Okay.
Um, So they come up and they're basically like, "What are you doing here?" Um, and it seems like Defense is like kind of confused, and he's like, "This is a gangland thing, isn't it?" So he said, eventually, it's like, "Yeah, well, let me just get on my way here." And the Cholo guy is like, "No, we need to pay that. He needs to pay a toll." And the Cholo says, "Quote, motherfucker, give us your motherfucking briefcase." And while he's, did I get it? Did I get it right?
Yeah, I think so.
Motherfucker, give us your motherfucking briefcase. So anyway, he uh, he pulls out a butterfly knife, aka Balisong. You know, one of those knives that you got to flick like in a bunch of different directions.
I didn't know it had
So,
a name other than a butterfly knife. That's interesting.
yeah, it's actually the knife originates in Southeast Asia. It's not like some made up thing for gangsters.
Oh, okay.
I actually would like to buy a practice Balisong just to like practice those flipping tricks.
Yeah,
There's like
that'd be cool.
YouTube videos that teaches you how to use those things. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll buy like a cheap practice one on Amazon. I don't want to cut myself up with like a real one.
Yeah,
And let me do this flicking thing that looks pretty cool.
yeah,
So he tries to reason with them, um, but reason gets tossed out the window. And I forgot to mention that every time he has an encounter with a violent encounter, he ends up leveling up. His character levels up. So I forgot to
meaning
mention at the Korean store, he leveled up from barehanded to bat. So he
that's
stole the
true.
Korean man's bat. And he's going to go and use, in this encounter, he uses the bat on these two cholos.
Right,
Um, so he uses the bat, and he does end up leveling up with the knife. So he gets the knife in this encounter.
right.
Um, so next scene, I don't even know what this note means. Oh yeah. So next scene is we're at the police station, and the Korean store owner, Mr. Lee, shows up, and there's some more like racist stuff where they think that the Japanese cop can speak the Korean cop's language just
Right,
because they're Asian. Like that
right.
assumption is made.
Yeah,
um, but it's not like it's played for humor, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. It's not like they're trying to do it maliciously in the movie.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but anyway, he describes what happened and is like, "Oh yeah, so nothing was stolen." So he couldn't work on this case. He had to send it down to like a vandalism because the guy didn't rob him. He just busted up the store and paid for his item. So it gets
Yeah,
downgraded to vandalism.
right.
Um, Next scene we have the Cholos cruising, and um, I guess they have a really annoying girlfriend in there
Yeah,
because the Cholos are like obviously beat up, and the girlfriend wants them to go to the hospital, which is, I don't know, kind of weird considering they're Cholos and I don't think they have health insurance.
yeah.
But anyway, uh, we have uh, we have a motive that's established for defense. and his motive is that he wants to come home for his daughter's birthday. So he finally gets on the phone and actually talks to the ex-wife. Very creepy, by the way.
Yeah, very.
So he's talking to her and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna show up. I'm showing up for my daughter's birthday." And during this conversation, the cholos see him at the payphone, and they do a drive-by, and it seems like they they shoot everybody except him.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, and he kind of just like nonchalantly walks away from the scene. Like he doesn't go and help people that are shot. He just like walks away. And one of the things that happens is during the drive-by, the cholos crash, and I guess they get in a pretty bad accident because they're like hanging out the car. Some of them are unconscious. They're bleeding. And he basically walks up to that car and he levels up again.
Yep. He shoots that guy in the leg and then takes their guns, right?
Yeah, he shoots him, but he doesn't kill him. He just kind of shoots him in the leg.
Yeah.
Oh, there's only actually one person he kills in this movie, but we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Which is interesting. It's interesting given how much racism there is too.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's kind of weird because we got two levels of racism in the same room, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Upon taking the guns, he tells the cholo, "Take some shooting lessons, asshole."
Yeah.
It's so messed up. So next thing we have Pendergast like going through his retirement routine. I think he's talking to the captain, who's like a huge douchebag. In my opinion, he looks like he's kind of impotently hitting a punching bag.
Yeah.
Try to look cool.
Yeah.
So during this scene, Pendergast learns about the drive-by, and he is kind of having, at this point, it seems like he's kind of having some reservations about retirement.
Yeah.
But because the captain is actually tries to convince him to stay instead of going. But even then, it doesn't even seem like the captain knows him that well at all.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of giving like him a canned speech of some sort.
Yeah.
So we go back to defense, and he doesn't get on a bus. That's what I wrote.
Right. Yeah, he was going to, but why doesn't he again? He notices the construction, is it? Was that what happened?
I think it's because he has a bag of guns. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
I think he might have been hungry. Who knows? But anyway, the ex-wife finally gets in contact with the police, and we find out that there is a restraining order on defense. And the cops don't seem to believe her that much, and they're kind of being like dicks. They don't believe her that he's coming to her home. So anyway, next scene, we have this lying ass junkie that talks to defense. Like he wanted money, right? He's asking him for money, and defense is like, the typical conservatives' response would be like, go work for your shit, get out of my face.
Yeah. Fight for your country, I'm not going to give you that too. And then the guy lies to him about having been in the Vietnam War. What? How old were you? 10?
Yeah. He catches him in a bunch of lies. Eventually, he gives the junkie his briefcase.
And then he gets pissed off.
Yeah, what was inside the briefcase? Do you remember?
Does he say, "Give me your motherfucking briefcase"?
No, it was the cholos who said it.
Okay. Just
Like
them?
he didn't, yeah, he didn't ask for the junkie didn't ask for the briefcase. He was just asking for like money. But
Okay.
the junkie thought there was something of value in the briefcase, and we find out that it's just a sandwich and an apple.
Right. And he gets pissed off.
Yeah. So get to another scene, and they're in the police station interrogating the Cholo's girlfriend, and she gave a description of the man that fits the man who had robbed the Korean store. So, they're Pendergast is putting two and two together at this point. So next scene, total Karen scene here.
Mhm.
Defense shows up at a Wham Burger. I don't believe that this is a real fast
Yeah,
food establishment. I'm
I
pretty
was
sure
thinking
it's
that's
made up.
probably, yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, he goes to this fast food place and he demands breakfast. And he does a classic Karen. He
Yeah,
asks for the manager.
yeah.
He asks for the manager,
It's
and
11:35. I can't have breakfast. I want a breakfast. Let me
yeah.
speak to the manager, please. Give me a breakfast. What about the customer is always right? And I want breakfast, so give me
Oh,
breakfast, bitch.
hold on. I'm gonna have to take this call.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He really freaks out like a dickhole. And then basically, once the manager is saying the same shit to him as the cashier who he talks to when he walks in, that we don't serve breakfast after this time. I think it's, I don't know, 11 or 11:30 a.m. And he gets so pissed off that he's been carrying this bag of guns that he stole from the Cholos, right? So he gets so pissed off that he pulls out a gun and points it at the manager and demands at gunpoint that he serve him breakfast, and he'll still pay for it.
Yeah, and like, of course, all the patrons are shocked and horrified, and he tries to make small talk with them. I
Yeah,
think
he
he
tries to
asked
calm them
one.
down.
He
It's
asked
okay.
one of the
I'm
ladies.
pulling out a gun because I want some breakfast, man. I'm not gonna shoot anyone.
Yeah, so he asked one of the ladies, "How's the food?" And she just like vomits when she asks the question.
Yeah.
So he does change his mind. He actually says, "Oh yeah, I want lunch then."
Yeah.
And he's handed the burger, and like every fast food restaurant imaginable, the burger doesn't match the picture. Actually, this burger is like ridiculously, like cartoonishly different from what was in the picture. It was like completely smashed, and it looked freaking horrible.
Yeah.
So he does critique the burger. Um, the burger does look completely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what always happens. Like you said, you look at these cartoonish pictures that they do photo editing with and like glue stuff together on and spray to make it look all shiny in the commercials or on billboards in the restaurant. And then when you actually get it, it looks like this little cardboard burger.
Yeah, it was like completely smashed and gross looking.
Yeah.
Um, so we have another scene with Pendergast. It looks like he's taking his I don't know if he's an ex-partner, but his partner to lunch, which is the woman who was in Total Recall. Uh, so we kind of get some more of his backstory and his reasons for retirement. So he's retiring to Lake Havasu. His partner is like, "Why are you going there? It's like freaking nothing over there." But we kind of get the inkling, or at least the explanation, that his wife had like a lot to do with his retirement. Um, but he kind of lays that out on her, and he tells her, not to tell anybody
Right.
about the reasons why. So while they're at this lunch, he learns about the Whammy Burger incident.
Right.
So they're gonna look into
Is it
that.
Whammy Burger or Whammo Burger? Didn't he say Wham?
Wham I'm sorry,
Was it Wham
Wham
Burger? I don't think. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was Wham Burger. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I looked up Wham Burger, and apparently there is a Wham Burger in Florida, but
Oh,
not
okay.
in LA, from what I can. And it's spelled different too. There's also
Like,
a Wham Burger in Australia.
does one have an H and one not?
Well, this one has two A's, so
Oh.
WHAAM.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah. Another one in Australia is WHAM with an exclamation mark on it.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, yeah, we get the not economically valuable scene. You want to talk about what happens there?
What do you mean?
There's like a protester at a bank.
Oh.
And he's like the most peaceful
Oh yeah,
protester ever.
he's fired. He gets fired because they said he was not economically viable.
Well, he was denied a bank loan.
Right.
And he's kind of like protesting this bank. And you see him get arrested. I was like, why is this guy getting arrested? He didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I thought you were allowed to protest.
Yeah, so he gets arrested. And then he locks eyes with defense. And he says to defense while he's driving off in the squad car and in cuffs, he says, "Don't forget me."
Yeah, that was weird.
I was like, okay. Um, so while this is happening, defense buys like this snow globe for like $3. I was like, that's the gift that you're gonna give to your daughter, a $3 snow globe. Okay.
Guess so.
And we've seen the daughter. She's like really young. I don't think a
Mhm.
snow globe is like an appropriate gift. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she could easily break it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, next scene, a cop shows up at his ex-wife's house. We do find out that they are still legally married, so they're not quite exes. They're not divorced yet.
Hmm.
There's also the phone. I wrote down phone out of order scene. So
Oh, right.
yeah,
This was funny too.
Yeah, defense was just trying to make a phone call again, I guess, to his wife, and some guy gets really pissed off because he was on the phone for a while, I guess, and waiting in line. And this is like totally a '90s scene. Like this is not some shit you'd see today. Payphones basically don't exist anymore. But anyway, um, yeah, he's like, it's like two Karens going up against each other. So he out Karens the Karen by shooting the phone booth up so that it can't be used anymore
Mhm.
because the other guy was complaining about it.
Yeah, that was so funny. Oh, it looks like it's out of order.
Mhm. So we get another call from Pendergast's wife. And during that call, Pendergast finds out about the man was wearing a white shirt and tie, which links the incident at the Wham Burger to the previous incidents.
I was thinking this in terms of his outfit. At first, I thought he looked like a one of those Mormons who goes to people's doors trying to convert him because he was wearing the black pants, black tie, and a short sleeved white shirt, which seems like it's often what the men wear who do that.
Yeah, it was standard Mormon attire, but
Yeah,
no, he wasn't wearing it because he was a Mormon.
yeah.
I guess they tried to make him look as mild mannered as possible. So
Mhm.
they set him up with that that costuming. I did do a
Yeah.
little bit of research about like how they got the costuming and stuff like that, as I know they were gonna give him like some other hairstyle, and then they're like, oh no, let's try this buzz cut, and they gave him that instead. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll go with this. And
Okay.
yeah, that whole like getup that he was wearing is to make him look as mild mannered as possible.
Okay.
Um, so, so anyway, oof, this is the surplus store that he shows up at.
Right.
So we
The
have
most racist
more,
guy in film history.
yeah, racist and homophobic. So we got
Yeah.
some homophobia on display.
Oh, and
There's
sexist too. Yeah.
sexist, homophobic. You know, every he has every check mark of bigotry. Um, and I think he kind of has like an East Coaster accent too.
Yeah.
But he goes into the store, and you could see right away that the store owner kind of recognizes him, and is like surprised by his presence.
You
But
don't
like,
think it
there's
was you don't think he was just like presently surprised because it's a white guy?
well, the gay dudes were white too.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it seemed like they were obviously gay, so he maybe he thought, "Oh, thank God, a white straight guy. You're like me."
Oh well, he tries to make those arguments later on, and he
Yeah.
uses like this really cheesy, like I don't know, it sounded like Dr. Seuss to me. I have it quoted later on, but I'll talk about that. But
Okay.
anyway, anyway, he's there's like these two gay dudes, and he's constantly like prodding them, and the gay dudes do plan on leaving the store, but he says something while they're leaving. And you could see that the gay dudes would fuck him up if they needed
Yeah.
to, but he pulls out a gun,
Yeah.
so they just leave after that. Um, so at this point, the cops arrive and they're across the street. I think they're questioning a couple people. Um, and Pendergast is there too, but he doesn't go into the store. Pendergast talks to, and her name is Angelina, his former partner.
Okay.
Talks to them about the content of the gym bag, at least. Oh no, Angelina is not. It's not his partner. Angelina is the Cholo girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, he talks to her about the gym bag, and he finally finds out there's a shitload of guns in the bag.
Right.
And quote, she says, "Lots of guns, all the guns in the fucking world."
Yeah.
End quote. And then I wrote "child on stretcher." I have no idea why I wrote that as a note. I think has something to do with the police station. So finally his partner shows up at the surplus store and starts to question homophobic man, asking if she describes defense and asks if he had been seen. And we can see that he does some stuff to conceal defense, like kicking his, I think his, well, he was kicking something back, like his gym bag, and trying to close like the changing room.
Yeah.
And he asks about Officer S's.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
How come you're a female officer? Why don't they call you Officer S's?
That's so stupid, man. But yeah, as she leaves, he calls her an Officer S, and then he locks and shuts the door.
Yeah.
So the fence asks him why he did that for him, and he's like, "Oh, let me show you something." And he takes him to the back room. There's a bunch of Nazi shit back there.
Yeah.
Like, look at this kid. is Zyklon B. So we also find out he's like racist at this point because he uses like the N word to describe black people, et cetera, et cetera. And there's like a bunch of Nazi stuff in the back of the store.
Yeah.
And he tells defense, "Hey, I kind of heard what you've been doing on the police scanner, and I support you, and I want to give you a gift." And the gift that he gives them is a freaking rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And here's where the Dr. Seuss comes in. He says, "We're the same, you and me. We're the same, don't you see?" I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
it sounded so Dr. Seuss to me.
Yeah.
And then actually, which is interesting here, is defense calls the Nazi guy a sick asshole.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between being racist and being a Nazi, I guess.
Yeah, and then they start talking about freedom of speech.
Yeah.
So he's kind of the Nazi guy's upset that defense isn't on the same page with him. And then he finds, because he's kind of at the mercy of Nazi guy at the moment, because he knows he's a fugitive, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So he sees defense's snow globe for his daughter inside of his like bag of guns. And he says, "What's this doing here? Maggot shit." And
Oh, I thought he said.
so
I thought he was. I thought he was saying that it was some gay shit, like some faggot shit.
that's what he said. I just kind
He
of
said maggot shit. Okay.
I said maggot shit because I didn't want to
Yeah.
use that word for demonetization.
Oh, I didn't realize I didn't realize that word was censored on YouTube.
I think it's like the N word now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he says maggot shit. But
oh, I hope I didn't get your channel a strike there for saying that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't think so, but we're just quoting a movie here, folks. This is this movie that we're talking about here.
It was a Nazi who said this, not me.
And you see that it's like, no. Like he gets really pissed off.
Yeah. Because it's his daughter's his gift for his daughter, right?
Yeah. So he's just mad and he's like, "Give it to me." And then at that point he sticks him with the butterfly knife.
Right.
And this is kind of a weird moment because he does get the gun at this point. And the Nazis get shot and killed by defense. And while he's getting shot, he's like punching a mirror for some reason. I don't understand why. He gets shot and he's punching a mirror.
He doesn't get shot through the mirror?
No. He's okay. So this is what I understood the scene to be. He gets shot, he gets turned around and gets back up, but he's facing the mirror. And then he's getting shot again, and then the Nazi guy's like punching the mirror for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is his first kill.
Yes.
So he kills the Nazi. I guess he has to be evil enough to be like the kill to be justified, I guess. Has to be the Nazi.
Yeah, and he gets more and more crazy throughout the movie, and like you said, he kind of upgrades and gets more violent too.
Yeah, he upgrades to a rocket launcher here. So next scene, the captain is mocking Pendergast. And you can see that the captain just doesn't like him. I wrote in my notes, Captain is an asshole.
Yeah. He tells him that at one point, right? I really don't like you. I just wanted to do professional courtesy by pretending to be nice to you.
Yeah, so I think we get a story from Pendergast that there was one point where he came home and his wife thought he was a ghost.
Yeah, which is like obviously she has some sort of mental problems if that's actually happening.
Yeah. I think they're trying to make it clear that she's kind of mental. So he goes off with his partner. So we go back to Defense's ex-wife, and she's trying to get the cops to show up as they had left, and um, the cops are like, "Hey, this guy's not showing up, so I don't know if we need to be here." Pendergast shows up at the Korean store to do an investigation, and he recognizes the billboard he saw early in the movie, and he runs over there and he finds the abandoned car that says Defense, and he
Right.
figures that's who the guy is.
Right.
I don't know why I put this in notes, but there's a little girl who uses a water gun on a TV, and I guess this is the daughter. She shoots water pistols at the television.
Right. Oh yeah, that ends up being a key plot element.
Yeah, so um here's what I wrote. And this is back Defense. I'm not totally clear of what's going on, but this is what I wrote. I wrote a guy who calls an old lady. Okay, I think he's like near the construction area, and there's like a traffic jam, and there's a guy in a car, and he calls some old lady a dumb goddamn bitch, and then Defense punches that guy in the face.
Yeah.
So supposedly we have some construction guys fixing the street, and he gets in an argument with the construction guy because he thinks it's a scam. Um, Defense pulls out a rocket launcher, and the guy's like, "Fuck, this guy's crazy." Um, a little kid teaches Defense how to use a fucking rocket launcher.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that part's funny.
I was like, okay. I don't know any little kid who knows how to use a rocket launcher, but okay. Um, so apparently, before he is meant to fire, he misfires the rocket launcher, and it appears that the rocket travels through a tunnel and blows some shit up, and the kid thinks it's cool.
Yeah. He aims at the I don't know, some big type of construction equipment and kind of misses at the last second, and then it goes on that underground tunnel and then blows up a whole bunch of shit with what it hits at the end, right?
Yeah, it still effectively does the same thing, except it it gets shot underground and somehow is a heat-seeking missile, I guess. I don't know how that works, but anyway, we discover that Defense's name is William Foster,
Right.
and the police show up at his mom's house. Mom's kind of nuts too. I think Pendergast picks up something, and he thinks it's like a melted animal or something. The mom's, that's a giraffe drinking. Um, so while they're at his mom's house, we get a cutscene where Defense is at a golf course. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, that that's pretty like funny, even though some bad shit happens too. He just cuts through a private golf course and he's coming up to these two old men playing golf, and he freaks them out by pulling out a shotgun, and then one of the old guy who's the maddest at him has a fucking heart attack, and he gets worried at first, but then he basically just lets him die. And the friend who's with the guy who has a heart attack, he's more calm and trying to calm him down, but then he freaks out and goes and tries to get some emergency assistance, and Michael Douglas gets so pissed off about old guys being lazy and going around in a golf cart while playing golf that he shoots the golf cart and it rolls into a nearby pond.
Yeah, and guess what? The guy's medicine was on the golf cart.
Right. Yeah, his medicine for his heart that can help him if he's in having a heart attack.
Yeah. So, and then he says, "Die wearing that stupid little hat."
Yeah, man.
This movie. I have written here, and I'm not sure why. Building important things to protect them from the communists. Oh, that's what he.
Oh, that's what his
he
job
believes.
was, right?
Yeah, that's what he believes.
Because that's why his license plate is defense, because he was working for a weapons manufacturer, right?
Right. Okay. This is the scene where he kind of like. Yeah, this is the scene where he kind of takes that family hostage.
Right.
So we find evidence of. Oh no! That's what his mom told the detectives.
Oh, right. Yeah, when they go to her house.
Yeah, that's what his mom described his job as.
And they find out. Oh, she finds out through them that he got fired over a month ago, some time frame like that, right?
Yeah, so we find out he's been fired for over a month, which is pretty nuts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. Internet connection must have kicked him out there. Hopefully Dess will be back in a minute. But yeah, that's a part that we haven't found out and we're wondering about for the whole movie as Robert Duvall's character was investigating the guy because he had suspicions at first.
Oops.
He got kicked out there?
Yeah, but my friggin' phone it said shutting down Chrome because it's causing your phone to overheat.
That's like, weird.
What the hell? It's never done that to me before.
I've never had that happen either. That's weird.
Yeah, let me get my audio connected here because it's not.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, great. So yeah, they prod the mom, and she tells the detectives that Bill blames her for the marriage not working.
That's defense, right?
Yeah, defense.
Okay.
Chrome is causing your phone.
Uh-oh. Phone kicked him out again there. I don't know why that keeps happening, but yeah, it was shocking to the mother when she found out that he had lost his job over a month ago because he still was going to work every day. So I wonder if he was starting to crack psychologically since he lost.
All right, it did that again.
It did do the same thing again?
Yeah, what I'm gonna do right now is put my phone inside of a freezer.
That won't wreck it?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna close the freezer, I'm just gonna leave it open.
Okay. Yeah, that might be a good idea.
I'll put it on top of this cold tray here.
Okay.
Oh, it's still saying it's overheating.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never happened to me before.
Oh, it happened again. Shit. I hope that doesn't keep happening. Hope we can finish talking about this movie. What time is it? Yeah, we still got some time for Dusty. Hopefully he can get back in there. So, yeah, this is... Oh, there you are. Did the same thing happen again?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
I took the case off. Hopefully that might help. I also got an ice pack out of the freezer, and I'm just putting my phone on top of it.
Okay.
I don't get what's going on. It says Chrome is causing your phone to overheat. You can close it now, or it will be closed automatically in 20 seconds. Like WTF, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I have no.
Shit. Not sure what to do then. Maybe... I was gonna say maybe could host it on my channel, but we already talked about half the movie. Well, more than half the movie. But anyway, to keep going on with it until Dusty gets back there. So this is basically when Pendergast and the woman who's his former partner, who was Arnold's love interest in Total Recall, this is when they start going after him. And I forget how exactly they figure it out, but they realize that he's planning to go to his ex-wife's house because it's his daughter's birthday, and he wants to be there for her birthday and give her a present, even though there's
Andrew, give me about a minute. I'm gonna try restarting my phone to see if this helps.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I wonder what other movies that woman has been in who is in who plays Pendergast's former partner, who was also Arnold's love interest in Total Recall. I'm gonna look that up on IMDb here. Falling Down cast. Rachel Ticotin, that's who it is. Let's see. No, I want to see her on IMDb. There we go. Oh, there's another Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World Dominion, coming out. I haven't really been a fan of those. Wow, she's way older now, but this movie was in the 90s. So, known for Total Recall. Oh, she was in Con Air, too. And Man on Fire. Oh, I didn't know that. So, she was in a lot of 90s movies, actually. She was in Super Intelligence? Is that the, that's the Johnny Depp one, isn't it? Oh no, that's a totally different movie. Maybe I'll, can I wonder if I can screen share this? Well, actually, no, there's no point in doing that. I'm just looking at this for a minute here. Oh, she was in some episodes of Grey's Anatomy too, and she was in Homeland? I've seen that show. I didn't remember in that. Maybe she had a small role. And she was in Weeds. She was in lots of TV shows. She was in Lost? Maybe she played a small role in that too, because I don't remember her in that either. Con Air, guard Sally Bishop. Oh, so she was a guard in Con Air. That was a good Nicolas Cage movie. I know people hate on Nicolas Cage, but he's done some great movies. She was in Natural Born Killers. Oh, in a deleted scene. That's why I don't remember her from that.
All right, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
So I removed my phone from its case. I have it now sitting on top of an ice pack, and I've restarted the phone. Hopefully that does the trick.
Yeah.
But the phone is like
still
cold now.
Okay.
It's not.
It's
that
not giving
message
you
isn't
that
showing up.
warning? Okay. That's
No.
good.
And I went inside of Chrome and I closed a bunch of windows. Maybe that was the problem. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that can happen sometimes.
Oh man, that was weird. That's never happened before, but that's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay, so yeah, we find out his a month ago he was fired, and we got the scene where he crashes like the barbecue of like this swanky mansion. It's like a family, a mother, wife, and some kids. And
oh yeah, that's the guy who works on the golf course and his family, right?
Right. So we find out that the family, they don't own that house. They're actually they work is in the employ of the owner house. And he holds them hostage for a while. Well, not, I guess, fake hostage. He kind of explains his backstory a little bit. He tells them that he's lost his job and that he's not economically viable. So I guess he didn't forget that man.
Yeah.
And then the family obviously looks really scared. And then he gets offended because the family thought that they were hostages.
Yeah, they kind of assumed that because he had a gun with him the whole time.
Yeah.
And it had it out. He didn't like have a smaller gun in a holster. He was carrying around a shotgun.
Right. Like a heavy duty gun.
Yeah.
So I think the wife starts crying. And it's like, oh, I just wanted to talk with you guys about grown-up things. I'm like, okay. So next scene, the cop leaves the ex-wife's house. And we find out that the body of the Nazi guy is discovered by the cops.
Right.
Bill calls his wife, and probably the creepiest call ever.
Yeah.
And he basically spooks her by saying he's going to be there. That he's already there. Like she can hear on the phone. She hears on the phone that he's nearby. So she's able to put two and two together. So she's like, oh shit. She grabs the girl. And he enters the front door. She like exits the side door. So they barely miss each other.
Yeah.
So they miss each other. The cops are now beginning to narrow down his location by tracking like where the incidents occurred on the map, and they see that his general direction is towards Venice Beach, and they find out, oh, that's where his wife lives. So they kind of know what he's up to now. Weirdly, next scene we see defense watching home videos. And we can see even back then the guy was an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. And he notices, it seems like he notices while watching those old home videos that his memories of his time with his family were not nearly as fond as he thought they were because he was getting pissed off all the time over nothing.
Yeah, so he always had these weird temper issues.
Mm-hmm.
So it's let's see. So at this time, the normal cops won't show up to her house anymore. Because they're tired of getting calls.
Yeah.
So the only cops that show up are
Pendergast and
his partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this time, we're cutting back to Pendergast. So this is before he even left the police station. His wife calls because he's going to be late. And he tells his wife to shut up.
Yeah, it's funny because he's finally standing up to his wife, who he's letting be kind of controlling, but he goes way fucking overboard and freaks out at her.
And she complies, though.
Yeah.
She stands down with her craziness.
Yep.
And takes his request. He's like, and dinner better be ready when I get home.
Yeah, exactly.
So as he's leaving, there's like a surprise retirement party, and a freaking stripper shows up.
Yeah.
Of course, this is not the right time since he needs to thwart this defense.
Yeah, it's right when his former partner and him are about to leave the station to go and try and stop the defense from doing something violent, right?
Yeah. So that one asshole cop, not the captain, the asshole cop that's always like cracking jokes at his expense, throws shade at Pendergast's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pendergast punches him in the face.
Yeah.
So, this is Pendergast is finally standing up for himself.
Yeah.
We cut to defense. He's still watching some home videos.
Mm-hmm.
Through the videos, it is revealed that he was a shitty father. One of those instances is the horsey ride.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care whether his daughter liked it or not. I think he says like, ride the goddamn horse or some crazy fucking maniacal shit to his daughter.
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with this guy? So the cops finally show up, Pendergast and his partner. And he tells her to take the back. And he reaches for his pistol, and there's no gun because he turned it in.
Right, he had to turn it off, or turn it in because it was his final day, right?
Yeah, and as he reaches for his gun, he hears a gunshot, and his partner got hit. I think she got shot like in the stomach or something like that.
Yeah, defense shot her in the stomach with a shotgun.
Yeah, so she gives him her pistol, and I think we do get a story about him too. Did he never used his gun, right? I
don't remember. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think there was like a little story they tried to say that I think he accidentally shot a kid or he didn't use his gun. There was like some little backstory. I think he never used his gun though. I don't think he used it.
It wasn't the Die Hard version with what's his name? That cop who's basically McLean's kind of de facto partner in the first one.
Oh, what's his name? The guy from Full House or from Family Matters? Carl?
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's his name in Die Hard, but that's his name in Family Matters.
Oh, okay.
Carl Winslow. Reginald Bell Johnson is the name of the actor.
Okay.
But apparently, she had run out to the pier. Looks like Michael Douglas is in pretty good shape because he's like hauling ass on the pier for an
Yep.
extended amount of time. So I was like,
Oh, I don't
the
know.
guy's in shape.
That just reminded me for some reason someone is reading or someone is giving a description of him to the cops. I forget who it was, but they said it looks like he's in his 30s. I thought he looks like he's in his 30s. He's got gray hair, man.
Yeah, it's definitely not in his 30s. Probably like early
Yeah.
40s
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
But he was wearing like army fatigues because he changed clothes at the army surplus store.
Yeah, so now he looks like I don't know, an army vet instead of a Mormon.
So yeah, he shows up at the end of the pier and his wife is there. He sexually assaults his ex-wife.
Right.
And then he pulls a gun on him. And I believe he says, "God bless the working stiff" to somebody.
Yeah, something like that.
So as he talks to his daughter, he puts the gun down. Oh, God bless the working stiff. I think Pendergast shows up and says that.
Oh, right. Okay.
So Pendergast is trying to small talk him, but while he's talking to his daughter, but when he talked to his daughter, he put his gun down.
Right.
Pendergast tells him, "You need help. You're sick."
Mm-hmm.
So distracted by Pendergast.
Must have gone back upstairs.
No, actually, the one that said "you need help, you're sick" was the wife, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
So Pendergast is like distracting defense, and while he catches his wife's attention, he flashes his gun to show, "Hey, I'm here to help."
Right.
We finally get the story of what happened with Pendergast's daughter. Did you catch that story?
Oh, yeah, they're the child of his wife and his died when she was young, so he lost a child.
Yeah, so he was trying to basically tell him what it felt like to lose a child, because he's kind of in the same situation where if he goes to jail forever, he's not going to see that child again.
Right.
So after he puts the gun down, the wife takes the gun, and then Pendergast takes out his pistol and points it at defense, and defense says, "I'm the bad guy."
Yep.
I helped to protect America. I helped to protect America.
America.
So we could see at this point he's
fought for
planning,
this country.
Yeah. At this point, did you know that he didn't have a gun, or what were you suspecting?
I suspected that he still had a gun, so I was surprised when there was that big reveal and he pulls out his gun. He basically does a suicide by cop, right? He pulls out his gun knowing that Pendergast will assume that it's a real gun, and it turns out to be the water pistol from earlier. I definitely
that the daughter shot the TV with.
Yeah, I definitely didn't anticipate that. Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah, I seen the movie, so I was like, okay, I remember this part. Okay. No, but when I seen the movie, did I remember it wasn't? I think I did remember at that point it was not a real gun he was going to pull out. But yeah, he does suicide by cop. That's what I wrote in the notes. And then we have like a press conference about that incident where the captain is like trying to say that Pendergast was like a hero. But Pendergast tells the captain, "Fuck you," during that news conference. He's such a phony asshole.
Yeah, he does because he's getting interviewed for TV, and he goes up to him and says, "Hey, fuck you."
So the mom doesn't want to tell the daughter that her dad is dead.
Right.
And for some reason, I wrote my notes. My name is Mud,
No, but I can.
and then Pendergast doesn't want to retire anymore.
Right.
The last scene of this movie is a sad dog watching home videos.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
It's the dog watching the home videos that defense was watching,
Okay.
but the dog is also in the home videos, so it's like the dog is watching itself with the
Okay.
family. That's the last scene of the movie. It's so weird.
That is weird.
So I was like, okay, that's strange, Joel Schumacher. Okay. So yeah, we reached the end. Overall, what did you think of this one?
I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought it was good for the inadvertent comedy, and it was kind of like that part of it was kind of cheesy, and the concept of a like a really traditionally conservative white guy gradually getting angry and going nuts and becoming violent it's kind of like apt for today too, because that's what one or both of the last shooters were for the two most infamous recent mass shootings, the Buffalo and Uvalde ones, or at least the Buffalo one. I'm not sure about the Uvalde one.
Yeah, this movie screams Karen to me. So a lot of the
male
scenes,
Karen, like you said. Yeah.
yeah, he's basically a Karen. Like,
Yeah.
we literally have the "let me talk to your manager" scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, it's just full of this character is just full of entitlement.
Yeah.
But so when this came out, it was actually somewhat controversial. And there were critics that were saying that this movie was glorifying this guy's, they're glorifying defense. But we can
Really?
clearly see at the end of the movie that he's the bad guy.
Of course.
Yeah, so I didn't think those criticisms were apt. I think, yeah, to me, they weren't apt.
No.
But there's definite, like, I think there were other criticisms about how they were portraying the economically poor in Los Angeles as like being stereotypical. So I think they were talking about criticizing how the cholos were portrayed, but that's what cholos were like back then. So I don't really know why that was bad in particular.
Like because it was a stereotype of Mexican people?
Well, it wasn't really, because I guess it's because they were the only real Mexicans in there. So they're like, oh, they had to pick cholos, or
It's true.
oh, the Korean store owner. Oh, you know, all this.
Yeah, but I mean, like one
nonsense.
of the white guys is a literal Nazi, and he, like, Michael Douglas kills him, even though he himself is racist too, but nowhere near as bad as an actual Nazi.
Yeah, like even Michael Douglas said that the guy was an asshole.
Yeah.
So I didn't really think those criticisms were apt, but when this movie came out, it was a little bit controversial.
Okay.
Siskel and Ebert, however, gave this film good ratings. They liked the movie.
Okay.
The Siskel and Ebert back then were still like an authority.
Was it? Do you know if like the way some things were done that I think are some of the examples of inadvertent comedy, like basically the parts where he's getting mad and freaking out? Do you think that they were meant to be interpreted comedically, or it actually is inadvertent comedy like that, just because they're done in like a cheesy 90s way that wouldn't have seemed so cheesy back then?
From what I was reading, at least when doing some research, there was some like comedy intentions there. Like
Okay.
obviously, specifically like, oh, the kid teaching him how to use a rocket launcher.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I think one of the criticisms was like, oh, this is what people are thinking. Like, oh, he goes up against some cholos and he beats them up, you know. Like, so it's almost like some of the stuff he does is justified, but a lot of it isn't, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Like he was just chilling on a hill. Some cholos try to rob him basically, but he has some other interactions with people that are not right, you know. So
Hmm. Yeah, of course.
yeah, it's not like a black and white thing. So it's
Yeah, like he's an asshole to a bunch of white people in the movie too.
right, you know, the junkie, the Nazi, you know, he's just kind of a irritable guy, like the construction worker.
The
He's like an
people on
asshole,
the golf course.
right? So yeah, but yeah, as far as this movie goes, it's if this was out today, it'd be so super memeable, I think.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and I bet like it'd probably be more controversial if it came out today, because this came
Oh
out
yeah.
before like most of the major mass shooters.
Okay.
There were some mass shooters that do predate this incident, but this movie, but it wasn't like a thing that happens as often as it does today.
Okay.
Because I think the only notable mass shooting that happened before this movie was the McDonald's massacre.
Oh, okay. I never heard about that one.
Really? You want to know something crazy? Is I used to live very close to that McDonald's.
Oh wow,
But
that is scary.
well, I didn't live close to it when the massacre happened,
Okay.
but it was basically happened in my city. Let me see. I'm just looking up the map for where it's located, and I'm checking where I used to live. Oh wow. Yeah, it's a little bit south of where I used to live. Let me see if I can check and see. Probably less than a mile.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that massacre at McDonald's was in 1984,
Okay.
and 21 people were killed, 19 injured.
Wow.
Yeah, so this was like one of the major ones that happened pre-Columbine.
Okay.
But it wasn't until Columbine where this started happening regularly.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm thinking if this was coming out today with all the crazy, oh great, give me a
What?
second. I have a call to
Oh,
answer.
gotta take a call there. Yeah, I imagine if the I mean, I think you'd have trouble getting this movie made today because like it's not promoting all of the discrimination, like the racism, sexism, and homophobia, but like it's a bad guy and also a Nazi who's doing all that stuff. But there's still a hell of a lot of racist stuff in particular that happens and that gets said. So I feel like if it did come out today, I can see how a hell of a lot of people would have complained about it, and like woke people would claim that it's supporting white supremacy and shit like that. Then maybe because everything is so politically polarized nowadays, right wingers would think it's like the best movie ever, even though, like I said, it's not actually promoting all of the discrimination or anything like that.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering how this movie. I think there would be a lot of backlash with this
Yeah,
movie. I
yeah,
think most of the backlash would occur when people I think people would say, "Oh, they're not treating this guy as a villain as much as he should be treated, and
He's
they're
still
making him too likable." The problem is that there are things that he does that make him likable. Not many, very few things. Like the only thing that made me think he was likable was when he beat up the cholo.
Well, yeah, I guess because they were trying to rob him.
When he beat up the cholos, I wouldn't condone just shooting Nazis,
Yeah,
but he didn't like the Nazi also.
yeah,
But yeah, he's kind of a gray area dude. Like, no, he's not a Nazi. He is racist, but he's not a Nazi racist.
right.
I don't know if he's homophobic or not. He's kind of xenophobic. But yeah, the guy's bigoted, but he doesn't take shit from anyone. Oh,
Yeah.
give me a second.
Get another call there. Yeah. Yeah, he certainly he is xenophobic and discriminatory in a lot of different ways. And yeah, I mean he's not like a maniacal villain for the whole movie, but there's that I think it's a good thing that there's that slow progression throughout the movie of his violence and craziness, and he gets more violent and crazy as the movie progresses, and you are sympathetic towards him less and less. I think it's maybe more that he's presented as the main character, so maybe people would assume that that means since he's the protagonist he's supposed to be the good guy. But yeah, I mean, nowadays there are a lot more movies from the perspective of the bad guy as the protagonist, and like Dusty was just mentioning, the first person he kills was an actual Nazi, so he is a racist character, but it really doesn't seem like the message is promoting any of this bad shit that happens. And at the end he says, "I'm the bad guy," and he gets pissed off about it at first, but then he does that suicide by cop because he delivers that line differently, and it's like he's realizing, "I'm the bad guy." And then he does that suicide by cop where he gets Robert Duvall to shoot him by pulling out the water pistol that he knew he would mistake for a real one.
Right. So, we got a little less than 20 minutes left. So out of 5, what are you rating this movie?
I'd say 3 because I'm not a big fan. I really don't like the movie that much, but I kind of like it mostly because I liked all the inadvertent comedy or sometimes purposeful comedy, like when the kid is showing him how to work a rocket launcher and stuff.
Yeah, I give this. I think it's because I'm biased, and I'm biased because I'm from Southern California. So a lot of the stuff that he's seen is like stuff that I've experienced.
Okay.
Because cholos were definitely a problem in my neighborhood too. So my neighborhood wasn't as ghetto as the one that he was traveling through. And I'm not, because there were like, I had my neighborhood, and then like maybe 6 blocks south, you'd have like where the cholos hang out. So it wasn't like directly in my neck of the woods, but they were around. And then I've been to LA in the 90s, so it's kind of a nostalgia thing for me. So I give this movie a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
All right.
I understand like the movie out of nostalgia.
Yeah, and I remember really loving this movie when it came out. So in '93, I did watch it in the theaters. I think we watched it at like a drive-through or something like that.
Oh,
And
cool.
so '93, I was like in middle school
Oh, okay.
when this came out.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
was 4 years old, approximately.
Yeah, '93, I was like 12, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Well, Well, all right. So let's move on to our next segment. I originally created another stream, but I don't have enough time to switch into it. We'll just go ahead and start right after this one. What'd you watch or what'd you read? What'd you consume?
Yeah, I've been well, I don't need to tell you what I ate.
Well, not
Yeah,
that type
I
of
know
consume.
I know what you mean. Yeah. But yeah, I was telling you I've been reading it's been taking me a long time to read it because I'm reading it as a physical book. It's taken me so long to read that book by Neil Stevenson called Anathem. The it's interesting.
Ah,
It's kind of like futuristic sci-fi fantasy, and
I know you were
I
getting pissed off at that book.
yeah. Well, I like the world building, but they're they're just so many goddamn made up words that it's really difficult to figure out what's going on. And then the plot is excruciatingly slow, but it's just barely interesting enough that I will finish it. I was thinking about bailing on it, but I will finish it because the every day if I read 100 pages or so, the plot kind of slowly moves forward a little bit. I want there to be more stuff happening with all the aliens that they're discovering and investigating.
Oh, the ending is really interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking
I
forward to
like
that.
that ending. But I listened to it in audiobook form. I do want to revisit this book again because it's like super like the world building is amazing. It's really different. And I know you don't like all those terms, but I enjoyed them. Like, do you know what a super Gija is?
Uh, is that the thing that's kind of like a tablet or a TV?
A Gija is a tablet.
Oh, okay. No, I
A
don't
super
remember.
Gija is like a desktop computer.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what a Speely captor is?
That's the thing. That's the thing that I thought was kind of like a TV because it seems like when they're talking about Speelies, they're talking about some sort of videos or TV shows or movies.
Yeah, Speelies are movies or things that are captured by a Speely captor. A Speely captor is just a camera.
Okay.
Yeah, they got all kinds of weird terms for like mundane objects, and I really like that there's like this monkish society of academics
Yeah, it's
that are like
interesting.
completely separated from society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
It's really,
interesting.
yeah, it's really interesting once they discover outside of. I don't know how far you're into this book you're at.
I think I'm almost 600 pages into it.
It's a big ass book.
It
Like,
is.
did they go outside of the, I don't know what they call it, the mathic world, and went to the secular world?
Yeah, yeah, that's that part I like that this part is interesting where they're going on this epic journey to find uh Arola or Fra Arolo and basically the part where I just left off reading earlier was when they sort of like reanimated the cast of his skeleton so the main character could ask him a bunch of questions, and then the aliens blew up a volcano or something like that next to where they were, and then they just barely escaped, but Fra Arolo got killed by the lava from the volcano after or just
Oh,
before they escaped. I mean,
okay. Okay, I remember that part. Yeah, it's
yeah.
it starts to get pretty interesting.
That
But
part is interesting. It kind of makes me think of like some Mad Max style post-apocalyptic world.
all right. So what else you been reading?
Well, earlier I just barely started reading The Way of Shadows. Brent Weeks.
Ah,
That's his. I can't believe I always get the names confused. Is it the King Killer or Night Angel? It's Night. Is it
Night
Night
Angel.
Angel? Night Angel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Night Angel.
the first Night Angel book. Yeah, I think that's interesting. Like I said, I barely started it, but the concept is interesting. That there's this skilled assassin, and then this kind of lowly class slummer dude gets taken on as his apprentice. That's a pretty interesting concept, and I like this kind of like assassin school type of thing, and how he uses magic too. That's cool.
Or he's having trouble with magic, right?
Yeah, yeah,
There's Blint is like his mentor or whatever.
yeah. He's the assassin. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you're really gonna like it. It's like it reminds me a little bit of the Dark whatever.
Oh,
But
Dark Dawn is one of the books, right? With that female
that's one of the
assassin.
books, but I always forget the name of the freaking series.
I forget the name of the series too. But it's like basically about it's kind of a grim dark series about a female assassin. Yeah, that's a really
It's
good
basic.
book.
Well, the first
Or
book is
good
like
trilogy.
Assassin Harry Potter.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And I really liked it.
Assassin adult Harry Potter.
Yeah, with very graphic sex scenes.
That'd be fucking weird for there to be that much sex in actual Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah, that would be very strange.
Yeah.
All right, what else have you been reading?
Well, yesterday. Yesterday I read another one of those books by Bernie Sanders. It was the shorter one called Bernie Sanders' Guide to Political Revolution. I thought that one was okay. I wasn't really a big fan of it. I forget which one of the three that you sent me was the other one that I read, but I liked that one a lot more because he went into detailed policy discussions, and then talked about what he was doing and what his goals were more. This was kind of just more kind of like cliff notes of that book in a way.
Yeah, I agree. Like his Our Revolution is basically an autobiography, so you get to learn about his past, like his family, how he grew up, and stuff like that. This one is just straight up political. Here's the political issues I care about, and here's like how you can be involved and stuff like that. So he doesn't really talk about himself at all in this book.
Yeah.
There's a couple of questions I want to ask you because I know you've read a shitload of books, and we're not going to be able to get through all of them. So I wanted to talk to you about a few of those. What did you think of Peculiar Apparel?
Oh yeah, I talked about that with you a little bit. Oh, I thought that was ridiculous. Like, what the fuck is happening in this movie or this book rather? Like, it's like a bad mushroom trip. I think I forget what exactly I said, but I said to you when I was reading it, Peculiar Peril, Dracula's balls, slug orgies, and what was the other fucking random thing? There was one other thing, but I forgot what it was. But yeah,
it's a pretty weird book.
It's like a parade of totally random nonsense.
Yeah, it's like I think the worst chapters were like the Aleister Crowley chapters.
Yeah.
Those are like, this is just like super ridiculous. And then you have Ruthless, which is just like this monster that just devours everything. You have the kid, what's his name? Jonathan Lamb's Head.
Oh yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and a lot of the people around him are like spies, and he only like realizes that at the end of the book. But yeah, it's like, it's okay. It's like, it's not something I'd ever read again. And if they're continuing the series,
yeah,
because there's like a cliffhanger, like it doesn't really end. It's a cliffhanger ending. So I was like, yeah, I'm not even sure I'd want to continue with this one.
I don't think I will.
Yeah, I might, because it was long, man.
Yeah, way too long.
It was way too long for the type of book it is. Like if you're gonna have like this whimsical story, I can take it in short bursts, but if you're gonna give me like a 22-hour like audiobook in that form, like
Well, a good example of that is I know you're not a fan of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but I love those books.
I'm more of a fan of
Probably.
that than this book. I'll say that.
Well, and one of the good things about all of those books, I think there are 5 in the series, is that they're all really short. They're all like a couple hundred pages or so.
Yeah. So Peculiar Pearl is just too long.
Yeah.
Okay, what the fuck are you reading now? Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters?
Oh, I thought I didn't realize I didn't tell Goodreads that I finished that. Yeah,
Oh, you
that's
haven't
another
finished
one.
it? Or you did
Yeah,
finish it?
I did. Yeah, it's another one of those ones kind of in the kind of like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, taking a Jane Austen book and making it more interesting for people by adding monsters. So in this case, they add sea monsters instead of zombies, and
Hmm.
it's interesting. It's okay for I like it for what it is, just kind of like a kind of a satire of the Jane Austen novel. And she was involved with this. The main character is involved with this love triangle between 2 rich men. One is really handsome, and one got cursed by a witch, and he has like a squid face. Basically, he has tentacles on his face. So she's torn between those two because he's so much kinder to her. And the coolest aspect that I think about it is they're they give a really like offhanded and not very detailed explanation, but I forget what they call it, but it's some event that kind of made the world itself much more aquatic. Like it kind of makes me think of Waterworld, maybe. Like not that the whole world is an ocean, people still live on land, but but that's the explanation for why there are sea monsters in the world. Like sometime sea monsters just started becoming a regular thing and attacking people. And
Hmm.
the coolest aspect of it that I think there is that there's this underwater city that they go into for part of it, and then there's a part where the sea monsters break in. And yeah, it's entertaining. I like the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies books more though. Maybe because I like zombies more than sea monsters, but
Hmm.
and I just like it overall more. Plus, I think there are 2 or 3 of those books, and there's one of this one. But yeah, I thought that
Okay.
it's interesting and kind of like an entertaining and fun little read.
Okay. So outside of that, were there any other books you wanted to mention?
I can't really remember that many other ones that I
Oh,
read
one
off
thing I
the
wanted
top
to
of my head.
note is you gave this one 4 stars. Um, Halo First Strike.
Oh yeah, that was the one. I think it's a novelization of Halo 2, and
Oh,
I
okay.
like that. I like that more than all of than most of the Halo books I read so far, because it was really action packed, and then it also kind of jumped back and forth in perspectives a few times between Master Chief, and I don't think it was the Arbiter like it is in Halo 2, but like sometimes it jumped into the perspective was from the book was from the perspective of Covenant characters too. And I thought that the action was really good, but it actually had a decent plot too. So I
Hmm.
thought that's why I thought it was better than the other Halo books that I've read so far.
Okay. I can't wait to get to that one.
Yeah.
All
Yeah. I
right.
also Oh, another one that was really good that I read another Stephen King book, one of his more famous ones called The Mist, and as usual, I thought that was a really awesome book. It's basically there's this mist that has monsters in it that's mysteriously linked to some secret government project, and then monsters come out of the mist and attack people, so you can't go out into the mist. So most of the book takes place in a grocery store, where people who happen to be at the grocery store when the mist took over the town are trying to stay safe from the monsters. Yeah, that's a
Hmm.
Really good
Are
book.
they like mist wraiths or what's going on there?
All kinds of like different monsters, like they're giant spider demons and they're like giant oversized mutant dragonflies. There's this colossal monster that they don't even see the top of, and there are these bird-like demons and the slug-like demons, and the birds come and try to eat the slug-like demons, and they get attacked by the bird demons. And then the mist itself near the beginning of the book is like a monster, like it turns itself into tentacles and is trying to drag people, and it kills one guy by dragging him outside.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so lots of
Okay.
cool Stephen King monster stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the only like fairly interesting ones that I've read recently, I think. Oh, also I read I guess the only other one that's interesting that I read recently was Memnoch the Devil. That was number 5 in Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. I like that one more than the previous one, The Tale of the Body Thief, which was my least favorite one in the series so far, because it was just kind of boring, and it was disappointing because the third one, Queen of the Damned, was my favorite one so far in the series because so much happened. And this one was interesting too. It's like basically kind of the classic idea of Lestat the vampire being torn between someone who proclaims herself to be God and then a guy who proclaims himself to be the literal devil, and he's torn between his evil vampire nature and his hatred of just his terminal loneliness, which all of the vampire characters seem to have in Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles, and that's what pushes him to more towards the good side, because he doesn't want to be so lonely, and he'll think he'll be forever lonely still if he becomes full on evil. So yeah, there's an interesting kind of classic moral dilemma in that one. I like that one. It's not my favorite one, but like I said, I like it more than the previous book.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you thought Peculiar Peril was nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, that was terrible.
Marmots and talking heads, war elephants, fucking dandelions. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck am I reading, man?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
All right, so what did I... Okay, so what I'm doing now in my reading list, I'm going back to the Reddit top fantasy list. I'm starting at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So I've been getting into some books I probably normally wouldn't read. So the book at the bottom of this list was a book called The Unkindness of Ghosts.
Okay.
By River Solomon. A sci-fi book. The book is woke as fuck.
Oh wow.
I think for the review, I just wrote non-binary Jamaicans in space. If you ever get to this one, you'll see what I mean. I haven't uploaded it yet. I will eventually.
Oh wow.
It was okay. Like, I wasn't really bothered by like the woke stuff because the woke stuff wasn't super ham-fisted or anything.
Okay.
But there was like over-representation of like non-cis identities, if you want to call it.
Okay.
Like, I never seen this many non-straight, like not even gay or lesbian, like people that are trans or whatever. But you'll see if you ever get to it. It's like about a generational ship, and there's a class system in the ship that's divided by race, and the white people control everything, and the people who are in the working class, like who are close to slaves, are like black, and that's pretty overtly an overt social commentary. But I actually like the main character because I can relate to the main character. The main character seems slightly autistic, or maybe much more autistic than I am. But the main character thought processes are hilarious. I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. I know conservatives would probably hate the shit out of this book. But there's a lot of nonsensical plot shit in this book. but it was still so entertaining to me.
Okay.
And that is called The Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon. And the author, what I understand, is also like non-binary or whatever.
Okay.
I finished Peculiar Peril as well. You already know my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
I also finished First Platoon, which I thought was very, very good. I only gave it 4 stars, but I'd give it 4.5 if I could.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like right in the beginning, she just talks about the Panopticon and Foucault. I was like, oh, okay. But towards the end of this book, it's more of a story about how the U.S. used surveillance and stuff in Afghanistan, and it talks and examines a war crime that happened and kind of like the case surrounding that war crime. And apparently Trump pardoned this asshole, so this guy is not in jail anymore. Also, I started Ambergris, which is another novel that was on that Reddit fantasy list.
Okay.
It's basically, it is a collection of short stories and novellas, but Vandermeer, I like sci-fi stuff. This is okay. It is kind of like Peculiar Peril, but it's not as nonsensical. It's not as whimsical. But it's like okay. It's easier for me to follow than Peculiar Peril.
Yeah, that's really hard to follow.
But it is a collection of short stories that kind of is about this city called Ambergris, which is in a fantasy setting. So first short story I finished was called Drayden in Love, which is like it's a story about this guy who sees this beautiful woman I think it's like a inn, and the guy who's like at the front of the inn won't let him in. And it's like, oh, I'll let you meet her, and he's like, oh yeah, let's set something up, and he becomes like this courier. But at the end of the day, it's like a ploy to rob the guy. I thought that was a pretty good story. But the second story was like strange. It was like a history lesson of Ambergris, which is more whimsical. So it was more in the fashion of Peculiar Peril, except not nonsensical.
Okay.
I like the audiobook reader. At least he keeps it interesting. But the story I'm reading now is kind of like a thriller / horror story in this world. So it's just a collection of stories by Jeff Vandermeer about this world, this fantasy world that he built. Varying quality and a very.
I missed you saying that this was a Jeff Vandermeer one.
Oh yeah, it's Vandermeer again. So that's why I was comparing it to Peculiar Peril.
Okay.
Because I don't know, Vandermeer's sci-fi stuff is just fucking amazing, and then his fantasy stuff is like a little weak.
Yeah, like I still like his first books that I read the most, the Area X trilogy and Annihilation.
Southern Reach.
Yeah, the Southern Reach / Area X trilogy, and especially Annihilation, which I watched because of the movie, of course, which is also an awesome movie.
Yeah, I love Southern Reach and Bourne. I love Bourne. I thought Strange Bird was pretty good too.
Yeah, Strange Bird is good too, but then the Three Dead Astronauts was fucking weird.
Did you read that yet? Did you read it yet?
Yeah, it was so fucking weird and terrible. So weird.
What'd you think of that, man? Because we never talked about it.
Like I said, man, it was way weirder and like barely connected to the other books in the Bourne series. I thought.
Did it make sense to you? Well,
But no, it
did
didn't make a
talk
whole lot
about
of
some
sense to me.
characters. Some characters did get talked about, like oh, what's that bat guy called? The guy that's like a bat.
Oh, I don't remember.
But he's in Strange Bird, and he's also in the Astronauts book.
Okay.
But man, that fucking Astronauts book is like super hard to follow.
It is.
I
Yeah, it
could
definitely
barely
is.
make sense of what was going on. You have
Yeah,
like
me
this
too.
character who's like an actual black astronaut. I think she's like missing like some limb, or she has like some prosthetic limb. You have this guy that's like made out of slugs or some shit. And
Yeah,
then
that's fucking weird.
this other lady who's like ephemeral. I don't even know how to fucking describe her. But apparently she keeps the slug man not a slug mess. It was and then they keep attacking like the same point in time. It's like they're going to raid the company and they keep doing it over and over in different parallel universes or some shit. It's just like it's too weird and it's too hard to follow. And then it goes into some other character POVs. Like one of the POVs is like one of the biological monstrosities that hangs out in front of the company. It's like some weird fucking aquatic land whale thing. And then
Oh,
another
oh yeah. What you just said there just reminded me. I don't think it wasn't named that, but I wondered if when I was reading The Mist, because he has that interconnected universe in his books that we've been seeing the most in the Dark Tower series, and that has some characters that carry over from The Stand. They, like I said, they didn't call them lobstrosities, but in The Mist there are these monsters that sound really similar to lobstrosities. So I wonder if Stephen
did I
King
say
put
Data Chung and
lobstrosities in.
Data Chang and
They didn't say anything, but they looked like the way that lobstrosities were described in the second Dark Tower book.
oh, it's possible.
Yeah.
So and then you have a POV of like a blue fox and his
Oh
fucking
yeah.
chapters just repeat themselves over and fucking over. I was like, what the
Yeah, it
fuck
was
is this
so
shit?
weird. Like you were saying, it was so hard to follow. I'm like, okay, so it's this character's POV. Okay, but what do they have to do with that character again? Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So why? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it was super hard to follow. Oh man. So yeah, that's pretty much all I read. And as far as watching, I've been watching the new Evangelion redo.
Oh yeah,
And
you were telling me that. That sounds good.
yeah, so there's 4 movies. The
Oh, the
first,
movies. Oh,
yeah, they split it up in.
I've seen those. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that's what you meant. I think I've seen the 3 of those. I don't think I've seen the 4th one yet.
Well, the movies I'm talking about, like the first one is called Evangelion 1.11.
Mm-hmm.
Second one is called Evangelion 2.22 and 3.33. I've watched all the way up to 3.33, and man, are they super different than the show.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
well, especially the third one. The third one I
the
thought
third
was
one is
really
like, what
weird.
the fuck? This is like nothing. This is like
Yeah.
nothing, almost nothing to do with the show. So the first
Yeah,
one
that's what I thought. Yeah.
follows follows it pretty closely. It just basically is like the show, except it's really done up animation wise. And then the second one, it starts to diverge a bit. They introduce like this new female character and this new like battles. And the battles in this version look like super badass. They're like
Yeah,
really,
they do.
really nice. And then the
Yeah.
third one, I was like, what the fuck? They have like a flying airship now? And I
Yeah,
was like,
apparently.
Jesus Christ. And now Shinji's a bad guy. And I was like, wow, this is like major divergence from like the original like series. So I'm enjoying it. I think the animation and the action is like really high quality. But man, did they take it in a crazy direction that wasn't like anything close to the original series. I'm like, man, this is really strange. But
Yeah.
I like it because it's a bit different and it allows me to revisit this world again, but have it filled out in a little bit different ways. Because I really liked part 3 because we got to see the world after like another catastrophic apocalypse happened.
Mm-hmm.
And at this
Yeah.
one, Shinji was the cause, and then there are still people alive in this world, but a shitload of people got killed.
Yeah.
Like all of Shinji's friends are dead. All of his school friends are dead. I was like, oh shit. And he
Mm-hmm.
kind of has like a mental breakdown, and he gets talked into doing some insane shit that he shouldn't be doing. And of course, his dad's always an asshole, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'm actually enjoying it. I was like, wow, this is like really different, but I'm still liking it.
Yeah. I wasn't as much of a fan of the third one because of how different it was, partially, like you said, but I really liked the first two.
Oh, the first two are pretty good. Third one is like, holy shit. But to
Yeah.
be honest, like the third one, if you were going to take the timeline of the two, the third one kind of takes place where in the original series you have all this crazy, weird psychedelic shit, happening. So that's kind of where what at the point in time, the last two episodes were just like super philosophical episodes where you're inside the mind of Shinji during the entire episode. And this, it's like, okay, what happens if this was, if you got to see what was going outside of his head?
Right. Right.
Um, in the Evangelion movie, I know there's a movie called Death and Rebirth. That one is basically takes place right before Shinji gets inside his own head. So there's so
Right.
much Evangelion material because the Netflix version is redubbed and remastered. It's not redubbed and remastered, but it's not completely redrawn like this one is. The one on called Rebuild is completely redone by hand.
Oh,
They
wow.
don't use any of the same animation, so it's all completely redone from scratch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, this was pretty good when it first started, and I was like, okay, it's different now, but I'm still enjoying it. And I gotta finish the last movie. I haven't finished it yet, so I have to get into that one.
Yeah, I still haven't watched it. I should watch that one.
All right, so I guess you did see that then, because I
Yeah,
know I mentioned it.
I thought you meant that they did it like in show form, so I couldn't find it on Amazon Prime. So I just assumed it was one of those things that you get in the US on Amazon Prime, but I don't get here in Canada.
Oh, okay. No, it was those movies because the movies are basically redone. Like they cut a lot of like the filler-ish stuff out of the show and they tried to redo it, but they totally went in some crazy direction. Like my favorite episode, I think, or the section of the movie that they did was when because they redesigned some of the angels. So one of the angels they redesigned was like the one that looks like basically a diamond, and I really like the redo for this one where he has like a sniper battle with it.
Oh
And
yeah, that one's
man, the
cool.
fucking they're so epic. Like the amount of damage these things cause is ridiculous. Also, the
Hmm.
amount of like defense systems that they have in the remake is ridiculous. You have like these giant walls with like a million fucking Gatling guns on it, just like shooting at the
Yeah,
angels. And it was like, wow, they really went all out with this. So that's one of the things I liked about how they overly exaggerated like the crazy like defense systems that they have and how much
yeah,
damage that these angels do is like they made them way more powerful in the
yeah,
remake version.
yeah. It was really badass, like you said.
Yeah, because Shinji doesn't have an easy time fighting any of them.
No.
In the show, he kicks many of their asses, but in the movie, he has difficulty with all of them. There's none of these angels are walks in the park.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember that. I don't remember very many details about the show at all.
Yeah, because the show is a bit, longer to get through. Yeah, so it's what 26 episodes. at 20 minutes
Okay.
apiece. But yeah, man, I'm really enjoying it so far. I know it's a big departure, but hey, I'm just like enjoying the experience.
Cool.
All right, so it looks like we're past time. I was
Yeah.
expecting. So we can go ahead and wrap it up. Did you have any plugs that you wanted to throw out there?
Yep. Everyone should check out the video that Dusty and I just did on my channel before this, where we were doing our breakdown and analysis of the new trailer for the upcoming Thor movie, Thor: Love and Thunder, and also my solo video that I did the other day that was my start of my series on the book Silent Covenants by the evil critical race theorist Derek Bell, and about how he basically about how the conservative economist Thomas Sowell basically agreed with him that black school desegregation in the US in the 50s was a mistake, not because it's morally wrong, but because the way in which it was implemented was ineffective and did not fix the racially disproportionate outcomes of black students. And it would have been more effective to focus on where you allocate the funding instead. So I thought that was really interesting. And then also, hopefully next weekend, we'll finally do that movie chat on Taxi Driver that we've delayed a couple times, partially because of me. And yeah, just check out all that stuff on my channel, Mindgasms.
All right. So for next week, we have a couple options, and I'll get your input on that. Our options are: I have this book that I've been listening to that I thought would be really interesting to talk about. It's called Days of Rage. It's about left-wing political violence and radical groups in the 70s and late 60s. Either want to talk about that, or we could actually start wrapping up Winter's Heart for Wheel of Time. I don't think I only need 2 more chapters to read, so that'll be done within a week. So,
Okay.
what do you think? Do you want to do Wheel of Time, or do you want to check out this new book called Days of Rage about left-wing radicals and left-wing violence from the 60s and 70s?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I want to read that book either way because it sounds interesting. But I think we could tentatively plan to finish Winter's Heart next week because I think I can probably finish the book that I'm reading and then finish the last of the book before then. But how about if I don't end up being ready, then I think Tristram would probably be okay with waiting one more week.
Okay, so we'll set up for Winter's Heart. We'll try to do that next weekend, if not the weekend after that. And then I'll put the book, The Days of Rage, up for you to grab, for you to check out. I think it's an interesting part of American history, at least when it comes to like political violence, that a lot of people forget about, that there was a lot of left-wing political violence in the 70s.
Yeah,
And
it's mostly right wing violence today, but yeah, like especially that time period you're talking about, there's a lot of left wing violence.
yeah, a ton, like fucking shitloads and shitloads of, like, a lot of the violence didn't involve, well, there was people getting killed, but man, did they blow so much shit up with bombs. It's like, wow, these people are fucking nuts with the bombs and blowing things up. But
Oh wow.
I'll get you that audiobook. I think this Monday I'm gonna try to put all the audiobooks up because I put them on my phone and then I got to transfer them from my phone to my computer and then from my computer to Google Drive.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna try to get you the ones that I currently have.
Sweet.
Put them up there.
Sweet.
All right, man. Well, thank you for chatting with me about Falling Down, a movie that I really enjoy, a movie that you thought was okay. I'd say, hey, check it out if you think you want to see something that is kind of applicable to today's kind of political like temperature. If you want to see something that wouldn't be produced today because of how
Yeah.
controversial it could be. But if you want to see something like that, I recommend Falling Down. And Michael Douglas does an excellent job. One of the things I forgot to mention is Michael Douglas's father, Kirk Douglas. He actually said that this was his favorite role that Michael Douglas played in the movie.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
But yeah, check it out. He does a very good job acting. Michael Douglas is not usually a bad guy. That's
exactly.
interesting to see him do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, take it easy, Internet, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Adios till next time, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.